All right, everybody, welcome back. And this is how I'm going to do the day 10 update with just this little panel here from the NHK website, just to see what happens. Who knows? We'll do a quick kind of go through of the lower rank and just kind of speed our way through it. Where Shonanumi looks to be doing fairly well, likely going to stay in low Maegashira, or if he continues to do extremely well, might get bumped up. But a lot of the lower guys tend to not do the best in the second weeks, but it depends. I'll just have to see. Bushozan he's going to be demoted out of Maegashira unless he goes on to win every single one of his next fights. Takara Fuji is looking solid, and Gonoyama is looking pretty good as well. I think Gonoyama is going to do pretty good from here on out, and they're both going to move up slightly, but nothing insane. Koto Shoho, I was hoping he was going to bounce back more, but he's kind of not been doing too hot. But this is looking like he might go down to second division for the next Basho. And we'll just have to see what happens with that. Aoyama, he's an old guy. He can't go negative or else he's out of the top division, and he needs the top division. So I have a feeling he'll be able to get his way up, but I think he's either going to go 7-8 or 8-7. If he goes 7-8, he'll move down into the top of Judio, in which case he might pop back up next time, or he'll go 8-7 and hold his position. Endo, who is very low, is doing very well, so that's good to see. I'm hoping he manages to keep up that effort and keep on it. Chiyoshoma, old, going even. He's going to stay around even, I imagine, stay around his position. Hakuoho, very young, doing very well in low Maegashira, which is good to see. I wasn't sure if his stumble would be this Basho, facing top div guys for the first time, but it might be next Basho, depending how well he does. If he gets jumped up into like Maegashira 7, something like that, into the like mid-upper level, that could be a pretty big kind of shock for him, because he'll be facing much better people much earlier on, which is pretty exhausting. But he is being trained by the best of all time, so maybe he's just got the tricks in him. Koto Echo, love Koto Echo. He will continue to provide exciting bouts and never have anything crazy going on in his rank, so love to see him doing his thing. Miyagiryu going 5-5. Nothing for me to say here. Ryuden seems to have bounced back. Last time I think it looked like he was going to do really poorly. I think he was like 1-4 or something, and then he's just won everything since. So we'll just have to see what's up with that. Maybe he'll be able to hold it together, maybe not, but if he does go negative, he's very low in the top division, so he does risk getting demoted unless he gets at least 2 more wins, which I think he can do out of 5. Daishoho, 4-6, low. Again, he's kind of on the verge of being demoted. Maybe he'll fight his way back up, but it'll be close. Takano Sho was doing very bad the last time we looked at him. Seems to have bumped his way back up. He's in the middle of the division, so we'll just... I keep saying we're just going to have to kind of keep an eye on it for these guys. Some of them because they're looking like they're getting demoted. Some of them because they're so neutral that it could be anything. I have a feeling he's going to remain around neutral unless something happens. Tsurugisho, love this guy, but he's not doing the best. I'm hoping he can bump it up, at least get a few more wins, so that even if he does negative, he can stay in the top division and hopefully just face some easier opponents earlier on and do well. Sadnoumi, not doing too hot. If he keeps on this path, he might end up at the very bottom of the division. We'll have to see what's going on with that. Kinbozan, doing well. I think he looked like he might be stuttering last time. He's doing solid again, though. So I'm excited to see that. Takayasu, I thought he was going to be in title contention. He lost 1, but then ever since then, his fighting has not looked the same. So like I said, he's come second 8 times, And he's done everything in terms of rank. He's gotten Ozeki. He's not doing better than that now. So he just wants the championship. I think he lost one more than he had before, or maybe two more, and then just kind of said, okay, I can't win this Basho anymore. I'm just not going to get injured. I'm going to fight easy. He's pretty high in the top division. It doesn't matter if he goes a little bit lower, so he can take that loss and then go on to try for the title again next time. Tamawashi, the old man, is really sticking in there. He's doing well, and I love to see it. He's extremely solid and has just been doing pretty great. Hokuto Fuji, I think last time I mentioned that a year ago, or 10 months ago, he went 10-0 right off the start, and now he's sitting at 9-1. The last time in the last 5 days, he collapsed. I really like Hokuto Fuji, so I'm hoping that he'll at least be able to hold on for a few more days, and then we'll see what happens with that. But keep an eye on him, because if he does hold it together this time, that might mean he's taking kind of a mental leap, or a sumo leap, and might be doing very well. We'll just have to see. Oho, not doing too hot. I was hoping he would, because he's a very young guy, but he is pretty high in the top division, so he can stand to lose again. I just hope if he does do poorly once, he's able to bounce back next time. Nishiki Fuji, nothing crazy going on for him. Hokuseiho, sitting at risk of his first losing score, and he got thrown pretty bad recently. Landed like flat in his ass off the doyo, so that's like an extra 2 or 3 feet to his fall. So that one might have shaken up his back a little bit. Doesn't look like he was injured or anything, but it sure can't feel good. So we'll have to see how he's able to pull everything together. And Shodai, with a few sneaky wins, Shodai tends to do well in the second week. So I have a feeling he'll be able to pull something pretty good together. And he's pretty high Maegashira, so if he gets any higher, he might be back in contention for Ozeki again. Meisei has had some pretty exciting bouts, but is not doing too hot. Nishikigi also going 9-1. This is the guy that sniped all 3 Sekiwake who were up for Ozeki promotion. He is having the Basho of his life right now. And at Maegashira 1, if he does take this home, it is potential that he could get put into Sekiwake and start an Ozeki run outside of Sekiwake position. We will just have to see, but he has just been crushing it, insanely solid, using multiple different techniques. And if this is here to stay, I think we really could be seeing another Ozeki potential candidate up and coming with Nishikigi. So I'm gonna have to really keep my eye on him. Tobizaru going 5-5, but still continuing to give really exciting fights. Also, Maegashira 1, 2 people can share a spot. Not more than 2, except for very rare situations in Sekiwake. But yeah, there's 2 in each spot. One is east, one is west. Don't worry about it. So yeah, he's also Maegashira 1, so I hope he manages to hold that spot, because he does belong up there. Midori Fuji, I haven't been paying too much attention to him, but he is not doing too high enough that it doesn't matter. Abi had, I think, a really good win and then a really bad loss over the last 5 days. The bad loss to Mitake Umi, where Mitake Umi right at the edge just managed to grow up inside, spin around, and Abi is not good on the inside. His limbs are too long. He does not train for that. So Mitake Umi managed to squeeze out his second win, but it's not looking good for him. He's not looking strong. It's just not there, and he already can no longer get a winning score with 8 losses. It is impossible for him. Abi is having a tough time, but he's looking solid. I think he might be able to pull it together, but it's going to be close. I expect him to kind of continue this trajectory, get maybe 9 losses or so. We'll have to see. Wakamoto Haru lost this day, which was pretty rough. He can't afford to lose anymore. He has to win the next 5 straight. This will be part of the drama. Onosho's doing solid. We're just going to move on. Hirodumi, not doing too hot. We're going to move on. Because I want to talk about Wakamoto Haru, Daisho, and Hoshoryu. All are entering into this final stretch. All are in Ozeki promotion, and I think they all need 12 wins and 3 losses or better to get Ozeki. Which means and I think they all still have to face each other. Which means Wakamoto Haru can't lose any of them. Daisho can lose 1, Hoshoryu can lose 1. Potentially. Ideally they shouldn't. But and it might put them at risk of not getting the promotion if they do. But this means that we're going to kind of see a trend that's been happening recently where the people in the Sekiwake position are all doing very well, but just at the last minute they manage to just like fight each other and then consume enough wins from each other that no one's able to get that promotion. And it's kind of been going for the last year, but I still expect to see, I think, 2 of them take a promotion, maybe 1. We'll just have to see. I would love to see 4 Ozeki in the next Basho. I was really hoping for Wakamoto Haru, but I have to root for Hoshoryu. He's my favorite, and Daisho is looking on the ball. We'll just have to see what happens. I wouldn't be shocked if Wakamoto Haru is able to take out Daisho and Hoshoryu, and then find like his stretch right through the center, and then one of these guys will beat the other and take it. We'll just have to see. Kotonowaka giving the second loss to Hoshoryu. That was rough. That was really rough. Hoshoryu almost had a toss at the end, but Kotonowaka, the baby-faced assassin, was too good and too solid to let that happen. Which leads us to our last one, Kirishima versus Ura. Kirishima is now going 4-4, so he's neutral. I think he wants the 8 wins, so he has to win 4 out of 5, but he is going to be going up against Daisho, Wakamoto Haru, and Hoshoryu. So that is a devastating stretch coming through, plus he's injured, and all of these guys are dialed into the max. He went up against Ura. It was a great fight. I'd highly recommend watching it. But unfortunately, it looks like Ura might have tweaked something at some point. I'm not sure if it's his knee, but his body looked a little out of shape, and then he got one push in and then just completely fell backwards to the edge of the ring and just like looked like he had no strength in him. So I'm hoping he's doing okay, but there is a chance of an injury for that. So again, end of this, I think the people really to look out for are Nishikigi, 9-1, Hokuto Fuji, 9-1. Those are the front runners. If these guys are able to pull it together and keep it going, then they have a great shot at winning the whole Basho. We just have to see how they're able to sustain, because when that pressure comes in, when the slog comes into the second week, things fall apart quick. And then the competition between Wakamoto Haru, Daisho, and Hoshoryu is going to be very exciting, very kind of nerve-wracking if you're a big fan of one of these guys. And then Kirishima, we just have to see. I'm really hoping he can get that 8 wins. I know that's the only reason he showed up, was to prove he can get 8 wins right off the bat, even with missing 3 days, to show that he's going to be a winning Ozeki. But it's looking tough. So there you go, everyone. I will catch you end of day 15 for, I guess, the recap of the whole Basho once we know who wins all of this. So now I get to go and watch day 11. Catch you later. All right, y'all. There's a couple things I need to address. First is Endo was 8-2. Which means there is a chance like other people might cannibalize each other's wins, and from lower ranks he'll just shoot his way right through to a victory. I think this is very unlikely, but it is possible. I think chances are if he gets to there, he'll have to start facing some people much better than him, or at least somewhat better than him, and he's going to catch another loss, and I don't think with one more loss he'll be able to take a victory. Over 5 days, it's probably going to happen. And then Asanoyama, who was very solid, was doing pretty well before, was fighting Hoshoryu, and I think after a throw ruptured his bicep, so he's out, which is not good for him, but he was doing pretty well, so I don't think he'll be demoted much, but I'm hoping he'll come back. Also, last time I think I said he was 32, he's 29. I just completely misremembered something on that. I thought he was coming to the end of his peak. He was coming to the end of like his young years in sumo, and I just got those two confused. And then lastly, I have some questions from Dom, where there's a rematch. Sumo needs a winner or a loser, so there will be rematches here and there if something is really close. Now, when something is close, one of the people will raise their hand, and all the judges will come together, a mono-e, and what will happen is they'll discuss it. There's 7 ringside judges, and they'll, deliberate, see what they thought happened in case the ringside judge maybe had his view obscured or got confused, something like that. And if it's really close, they'll do like a frame by frame analysis, and they'll get that nearly instantly. They got a little iPad up there, which is crazy because not even the NBA has this many refs, and sumo does. Like, what? But yeah, that'll happen. And generally, when there are rematches, it's either like a perfect draw, which is pretty rare, but other times, like this one, the person who hit the ground like 2 frames before was the aggressor, pushing the other person out of the ring, and the other person stepping out of the ring just kind of stepped, so it's just kind of like this weird thing where they try to lean towards the aggressor sometimes. Though it's not practiced too much, but if there's some ambiguity, then working in the aggressor's favor might be a rematch. And then the lore on the tassels. If you're talking about in the low divisions, and in the low division they just have ropes that you'll see go over their thighs as they touch down, and in the top division they have spikes that shoot out. And I believe everything in sumo is religious, historic symbolism, stuff like that. And generally it has something to do with temples. Yokozuna, they have a big white belt that they do, which is the same thing as goes across like temples and things like that. So I think I did a quick Google and it said it was based off of ropes that they have in temples, which would just make sense. The fights are very spiritual, so yeah, that seems reasonable that that's where it would come from, and yeah, I'm just not going to do any more research. Also, I see you watching it on NHK, which is awesome. Yeah, I actually didn't know that they had the highlights like they do. I've been watching it from just random people on YouTube who keep getting their videos taken down. Since NHK does upload it, even if it's like a day late, that's actually a pretty reasonable source in case something actually does go wrong for the whole wider sumo gang. So thank you very much, Tom. And I'm glad that you seem to be enjoying it. This is the one sport that I follow. And yeah, the old people in the crowd fucking rock. And if you go on 4chan and go to like the sports board and look up sumo, they constantly have like just screen caps of like random women from the crowds. Because it's 4chan and they're all just awful. But yeah, anyways, till next time.